everybody, it's Milo here, and we're at A&C Games. I'm joined with Aaron. We're going to be talking about the top 10 cards from Oath of the Gatewatch in Cube. I'm going to focus on the commons and uncommons. Aaron's going to look at the rares and the mythics. So mine are mostly for Noob Cube, his are for his powered cube, and let us know what you think your favorite cards from Oath of the Gatewatch are in Cube. So Aaron, my number 5 card is Warping Whale. It is an Eldrazi mana spell that I'm very unsure about, and I'm looking for some sort of support on this. It has 3 different abilities. You can either counter a sorcery, which is great because there's a lot of wrath. There's a lot of big sorceries in my Noob Cube. Also, it can exile a creature. This is the most relevant ability. It exiles a creature with power or toughness 1 or less. So if that creature's toughness is less than 1, you can deal with it really easily. Also, it gives you a Scion if you need a chump blocker, or if your opponent's at 1 no creatures, you can kill them that way. Or you can ramp. You can do a little bit of ramp if you need that extra mana for your next turn. What do you think of this card, man?
I think it's fantastic in constructed decks, especially as a sideboard card, because there's so many powerful sorceries, and as well it kills Jace, which is very important right now. In Noob Cube, I don't know, do you have a lot of 1-powered or less creatures? If you do, it's good, but it's also going to be really hard, I think, to hit that diamond mana, because you have to have a colorless source. So you're not running Soul Ring, the signets aren't going to help you. Well, how are you going to produce that mana?
Well, that's going to be something that we're going to find out when we're testing the Noob Cube. I'm putting in 35 wastes just randomly in the cube. It's probably a good idea. What do you think about putting wastes in like basic lands that people can choose wastes if they want?
Oh, I'm absolutely doing the same thing with my cube. I'm going to run some diamond mana cards myself, so you want those wastes to be available to your players.
Interesting. Let us know what you guys think. Aaron, what is your number 5 in all the rares and all the mythics in Oath of the Gatewatch?
Well, let me say first off that Oath of the Gatewatch is an amazing set for Cube, I feel, because I'm including 20 cards, 20 new cards in my powered cube. So I'm really excited for this set in general. And on the last video, I forgot to mention the man lands. I took those for granted. Just run them. They fix your mana. They become creatures. They're threats. They don't get wrathed away. I'm not including those in my top 5 again, because just play them, no questions asked. Those are included. So, on to number 5. My number 5, the 5th best card in all of Oath of the Gatewatch, I feel, is Oath of Nissa, which is a 1 green enchantment. When it comes into play, you get to look at the top 3 cards, put a planeswalker, creature, or land card from there into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library, and then also it's going to fix your mana for planeswalkers later on. And I like this card so much because although it's not as good as the blue cantrips, green hasn't really had anything like this before. And for 1 mana early game, it's going to smooth out your draws. It's going to get you the land that you need, or maybe a utility creature that you want. And late game, it's still going to draw you some gas. So it's a 1 mana spell that's really unique and can really help a lot of decks, I feel.
A lot of people are calling it a green preordain. Do you feel the same way about it?
Basically, I think it is the green version of it. Again, not as strong as preordain. Preordain's blue, and obviously blue has all the best cards, so it gets preordained well. Green gets Oath of Nissa, which is still pretty good.
My number 4 card for Noob Cube is Bailoff Null. This card is a beast, literally. This thing comes into play and returns up to 2 creatures from your graveyard to your hand, and it's a 4/5 for 6 mana.
But in budget cubes, it's very good. It's dutiful return, but with 1 colorless and a green, you get a 4/5 body on that. And we know how creatures with enter the battlefields are so good in cubes. You get to flicker them. You have that Brago going on. You got all sorts of ways, and then that means you're just drawing all these creatures out of your graveyard. It's so good in the colors that's in too, because black has so many great sack outlets.
Although, if somebody pulls off the Brago with the Bell of Null, I'll be impressed. Totally impressed.
My 4th favorite card, I'm cheating again here, Miles, sorry about this, but I'm going to say the Eldrazi mana creatures. My favorite of all of them is going to be Eldrazi Displacer, the 2 and a white for a 3/3, that for 2 and a colorless mana, you get to flicker any creature on the battlefield, any other creature on the battlefield, and that creature is going to come into play tapped. Makes combat really hard for your opponents. You get to take advantage of your enter the battlefield effects. It's really powerful. He hits a table, and all of a sudden the game is revolving around that guy. The trick is, though, you have to have the colorless mana available. But it's very hard to attack into because he's going to tap your creatures, and if you have something like Bailoff Null or some enter the battlefield effect that you could take advantage of, he's just going to get to keep doing that every turn, over and over again. And so he's a must-deal with creature at 3 mana for white. He's very good. The problem is that you have to have that colorless mana like we talked about. Is that going to be available to you?
Yeah, I mean, that is a great point. The reason why I like this one a little bit more is because you can always cast it as a 3/3 for 3. I mean, that's not a great, you know, card by itself, but at the very least, you can still play the card. You can still have a guy on the table, even if you don't have access to that colorless mana.
Yeah, I agree, exactly. So he's always going to come down, and the ability, if you're able to do it, is going to take over the game. So the other cards I want to mention that I'm including in the color section for are Reality Smasher and Thought-Knot Seer, which are both, again, exceptionally powerful cards. But that one, you need the diamond mana and the casting cost. And there's a few others that I like as well, but those are the three that got me excited, and I'm adding the colorless little section for.
No Kozilek?
You're getting ahead of yourself here.
Aaron, have you heard of this card, Storm Chaser Mage? Boy, let me tell you, it's something else. It is a blue and a red, a 1/3 flying haste prowess. It has all these things for 2 mana, and I love it. I love that it's a card that you can just land early and then just keep the tempo going. You can play only spells after that, and if you can control the board, that guy's going to be dealing a lot of damage to your opponent.
Yeah, I love that blue tempo decks are becoming more and more of a thing as Magic progresses. So this guy goes into great. Is a tempo deck, goes with Monastery Swift Spear like a glove. They fit together really well. And I was gonna say, when I saw it on your list, I was interested. I'm like, oh, it's going into his Noob Cube. I wasn't sure if you could quite support that, but a powered cube, I think it does much better.
Aaron, do you have another card for me?
Yes, number 3. So this is what we're waiting for, the Kozilek, the Great Deceiver. So I included him number 3 separate from the colorless creatures because although you require colorless mana, it's at 10 mana. So by then, you're probably going to have a couple colorless sources, either through Soul Ring or other mana rocks or some way. So I think he can go included in any cube anyway without the colorless like kind of splash with the waste and everything like that. And just because he's so good, 12/12 menace. And also people say he protects himself with the counter ability. He doesn't just protect himself. I had to face him already. He just countered any spell. I just started playing some creatures, and he's just countering spells like mad. I was just like, oh, I can't play anything. Yeah. I'm in trouble.
Another card that I really want to talk about is Wall of Resurgence. It's great in uncommon, so for peasant cubes, it's 2 and a white. You get a 0/6 defender, and you turn a land into a 3/3 creature. You put 3+1/+1 counters on it. It gains haste, and you have a 3/3 creature. Even if the wall leaves play, you still retain that creature.
Yeah, this is one of those cards that I think it's going to be great in the Peasant Cube, and I think it's really good in multiplayer cubes too, or multiplayer decks, because defense is way more important in those games. So here you get a defender, people won't want to attack you, and you get to be aggressive with a 3/3 at the same time. So it's a aggressive defensive card all at the same time. It's for 3 mana, it's a very good deal. Number 2, now we're getting to the real goodies. It's Sylvan Advocate. For 1 and a green mana, that's it, 1 and a green. You get a 2/3 vigilance creature that once you have 6 lands into play, it gets +2/+2, and all your land creatures get +2/+2. So now that we have a full cycle of man lands, this card is insanely good value for 2 mana, because lots of decks are going to be able to run the man lands, and I re-added Life Death as well, just for the shits. Can I say that? Sorry. Great.
Also, like, not even thinking about just, like, there's all of the amazing mana-fixing man lands, like Celestial Colonnade, or, you know, the new one, Shambling Vents, or whatever. But there's also Treetop Village, there's also Mischief's Factory, there's also Mutavault. Yeah. I mean, all of these lands get huge because of this. Also, really good with Wall of Resurgence. You get a 5/5 land creature, and it has Vigilance for some strange reason. Like, why are you going to give this Vigilance onto a 2/3 instead of a 2/2? Is this the next Tarmogoyf? Let me know right now.
It's as close as I think we're ever going to get.
The card's amazing. I'm definitely adding it to my Prime Cube as well. My number 1, Aaron, is Reflector Mage. Reflector Mage, I was like, time for another Mana War, especially because in Origins they printed a Mana War for 4 mana. And I was like, is this the way Mana War is going? Like, we're going to have to spend at least 4 mana for our Mana Wars? Nah, they came back, they gave us a 3 mana uncommon Mana War. You do have to play white and blue, but they can't cast that creature next turn. So it allows you to untap, have your counter magic before they can play that creature again. It's pretty sweet. Are you considering this for your powered cube?
Absolutely, I love this card. It is exactly like what you were talking about, where you want another Mana War. You want to be pushing some blue tempo a little bit to just mix up the blue decks. And this guy, he could be aggressive, he could be defensive, and as a 2/3 as well, he just blocks. Like, you're getting the body. If you're able to flicker him and flicker multiple times in a turn, where you're bouncing multiple creatures, your opponent's going to have a mid full of things that they cannot cast, and you're just going to run over them.
It's such an Azorius card too. It's so flavorful because it like detains your opponent. It's like now you're detained and you can't cast that spell anymore. Of all the mythics and all the rares in Oath of the Gatewatch, a set that you claim is the best ever for Cube. What is your number one?
My favorite card from all the 20 I'm including in Oath of the Gatewatch is Kalita's Trader of Get. For 2 and 2 black, you're getting a 3/4 lifelink, which I think is so important in black, especially for the 4-drop slot, to have a creature with lifelink. Whenever one of your opponent's creatures dies, you get a 2/2 zombie untapped onto the battlefield.
Untapped? Sorry, I thought it was tapped.
Untapped. And just as well, because that's not good enough, for 2 and a black, you get to sacrifice any zombie or any vampire for 2 +1/+1 counters onto Kalitas, making him just a life-linking monster that's going to slowly take over the game. When you Wrath of God or Damnation, those triggers go on the stack. You're getting a whole bunch of 2/2s if you're way behind. You play them on turn 4, you're overwhelmed, you Wrath of God, you're getting like 5 2/2 zombies here to swing back for 10 on the next turn.
I never thought of that, and that's absolutely amazing. That sounds crazy good. Especially good with something like Blood Artist as well, and get those triggers going.
Yeah, he really stacks. He goes so well into black. He's really what black needed. I think he's maybe the best black 4-drop, or maybe just behind Skin Render. They're 1 or 2 for sure.
Well, those were our lists. Let us know if we got anything right. Let us know if we got anything wrong. Let us know what your favorite cards from Oath of the Gatewatch are in Cube. Until next time, thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.